Hello! In 2004, Sony launched the last generation of its 8mm camcorders. They share the same body, tape transfer, imaging sensor and the lens. Analog and less expensive digital models used traditional physical buttons, while top-of-the-line digital models had a touch-sensitive screen with virtual buttons. If you look at the model lineup, which I compiled from 2004 and 2005 models, you can see that 5 out of 7 Digital 8 camcorders could not play analog recordings, something that was a selling point of Digital 8 format when it launched in 1999. Analog playback allowed an easy transition to digital, while still being able to play existing recordings on the same machine. Old tapes could also be reused for digital recordings. Only 2 out of 7 Digital 8 models retained the analog playback capability, the 2004 TRV-460 and 2005 TRV-480. Of the two, the TRV-460, this one, is a better one because it has S-video jack, something which TRV-480 has lost. As a camcorder, it's not very remarkable. It has a single 1/6" CCD sensor. 20x lens starts at a relatively tight 42mm. There is a 37mm thread for attachments. There is no focus ring, but manual focusing is possible either via virtual buttons or using spot focus, thanks to the touch-sensitive LCD screen. This 2.5" flip-out screen is as thick as a bank vault door. The screen can rotate to face the shooter. Sony called it mirror mode because the word selfie had not been adopted yet. The viewfinder is monochrome, it extends and tilts up. In line with the Sony's philosophy of the time, the camcorder does not allow setting aperture, shutter speed and gain directly. Instead, it offers several program auto exposure modes in addition to full auto. You can also fine-tune overall exposure level. The camcorder can shoot in 4:3 and 16:9 aspect ratios. In fact, all the camcorders from this generation can switch between 4:3 and widescreen, even high 8 ones. A feature that is conspicuously missing is white balance. A 1992 Sony 8mm camcorder that I reviewed recently also had no white balance control, not even a preset. The camcorder has a built-in light, and it also can shoot in infrared mode, which is called Night Shot Plus. In Super Night Shot Plus mode, an infrared light illuminates the subject up to about 1 meter distance, which can be used for capturing the face of a sleeping baby, or in my case, the sleeping cat. The camcorder records DV video onto an 8mm cassette with stereo audio. Tape runs twice faster than in analog mode, so a P120 cassette runs 60 minutes in Digital 8 mode. And this is what Digital 8 is about. It is DV video recorded on 8mm tape. I have a separate video about various 8mm video formats if you are interested. Consumer-grade DV video was usually recorded on 1/4" tape housed in cassettes like this. This format launched in 1995 and is known as DVC, although at some point Panasonic marketed its DVC camcorders as Digital 6. And you can learn more about the history of DV in my other video. I like 8mm cassettes. They fit the palm of my hand perfectly, and mini DV cassettes, they kind of feels a little bit flimsy, and I have small hands. As a recording format, Digital 8 is more robust than DVC, having 16 micrometers track pitch instead of 10 micrometers. This track pitch is slightly wider than 15 micrometers track pitch on DV cam, and just a little narrower than 18 micrometers track pitch on DVC Pro. It is unlikely that you'll be using standard definition camcorder like this for recording videos. I wish Sony ported HDV to 8mm hardware to prolong its life and to make it the most compatible consumer camcorder format, launched 40 years ago offering VHS-like quality, upgraded to Hi8 35 years ago, upgraded to DV 25 years ago. It could have been upgraded to HD 20-something years ago, offering 1 hour of recording on an 8mm tape, but Sony didn't bother, so 8mm video has stopped at standard definition. As useless as this camcorder is for taking videos nowadays, it is indispensable for digitizing old analog videos. You can play standard 8 and Hi8 tape on it. It will use built-in time-based corrector to make sure the picture is steady, and it will correct the video to digital and output SDV via FireWire. It will of course output digital 8 tapes SDV via FireWire. It also accepts analog video via Composite or S-Video from your VHS camcorder or Beta VCR, converts them to digital, and outputs, you guessed it, SDV via FireWire. So it's a Swiss knife for anyone who needs to digitize analog video, and for this purpose I cannot recommend it enough. It does have a USB port with a promising USB streaming feature, but don't get your hopes up. This feature is broken multiple times over. First, my Windows 7 machine, and to put it into perspective, Windows 7 was released in 2009, just 5 years after these camcorders came out. So my Windows 7 machine cannot locate a fitting USB driver for this camcorder. The original drivers supplied with the camcorder support Windows ME, 2000 and XP, and this is it. To be fair, I run a 64-bit Windows 7, so maybe I would be able to install the drivers on a 32-bit variant. But even if I were able to initiate the USB transfer, the connection is good only for 320 by 240 video at 30 frames per second progressive scan. Digital 8 is 720 by 480 at 30 interlaced frames per second, so even if USB streaming worked, it would be useless for transferring digital video from tape to a computer in full quality, which Sony admits in the operating manual. Luckily, I had no problems with FireWire connection. Drivers have been downloaded and installed automatically. In case your computer does not have a FireWire port, the TRV460 has an S-Video port, as I already pointed out, which is the second best choice after FireWire. This allows you to use an external analog to digital converter to ingest tapes in a computer. In closing, I can say that the Digital 8 format has never been about high-quality professional productions. In particular, I don't know of a single Digital 8 camcorder that had 3CCD setup. It had been envisioned as a path for Video 8 and Hi8 users to transition into digital video while preserving compatibility with analog recordings. I wish Sony gave it more love, which it originally intended. In fact, according to rumors I've heard, when DV standard was fleshed out in the early 1990s, Sony offered using 8mm format for it. But this suggestion was blocked by JVC. So the DV consortium had to design a whole new set of cassettes for it. Mini, known as DVC, medium, which only Panasonic used DVC Pro, large, known as DVCam, and extra large, also known as DVC Pro HD. And you can see that DVC Pro cassette is almost the same size as an 8mm cassette and has comparable recording time, 66 minutes versus 60 minutes. And as it often happens, animosity between different companies resulted in somewhat superfluous products, which they probably could have avoided if they stuck with 8mm. This is all. Please subscribe and comment. Thank you. Goodbye.